And here we go again. Another edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley has successfully reached the air. And for the next hour, we're going to be here. And we're glad that you started your Thursday with us. It is the 15th day of March 2018. Beware
the Ides
of March.
Et tu, Brute?
No, thank you. I just ate. I am Dan Kuntz, your host. Steve Hare, our news director, to my immediate left. We have a lot of news to get to, as you might imagine. It was a busy day around the newsroom on Wednesday. We got a lot of news to get to. Uriah Darby once again producing, as he and Kat have switched shifts for the week, so Uriah can get his big old truck up and running. He's a truck driving kind of a guy. You know?
I can't wait to see the finished product.
Yeah, well, this has been the topic of conversation around the bullpen for the last about a year and a half. So
a year and a half.
That's what it seems like anyway. So Uriah says he's almost done. He's like 80% done with getting his truck up and running again. And the best thing is, it's a big diesel truck. He says it's going to be louder than ever. He says you'll be able to hear him coming from miles away.
Love it.
Yeah. We also have all the award winners from last night's Chamber of Commerce.
That's right.
Banquet, which was held last night. We were well represented. One of our parent companies, Localtel, was the presenting sponsor.
That's right.
And we were there yesterday afternoon for some of the set and some of the prep work, Steve. And by the way, we'll have a full report for tonight's news.
I can give you a little sneak preview.
Yeah.
The winners last night.
You want to do that right now?
Might as well.
Go ahead,
because
please.
We'll have the full details coming up later on our 5 o'clock news with Grant Olson. J.C. Beck is also going to be doing a little piece on this for later. But the winners last night, of course, we had the nonprofit winner of the year, and that was Sage.
Good.
Also taking home the Cornerstone Award, which is basically presented to some
it's a big award.
Prominent member of the community who helps the chamber. Gil Sparks. Good name.
Good
He's
game.
been on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley
As
several
has
times.
Jessica Johnson from Sage.
That's right.
She's been on the show, yeah.
Also, the Business of the Year, Pacific Engineering and Design.
Good.
So congratulations to the winners. We'll have the details coming up later this afternoon.
Some of the creativity in the decorating of the tables, because businesses buy tables, was incredible.
It really was.
Oh, it's just insane, some of the cool stuff. Everybody got swag. It was a really neat event, really neat night. And as you mentioned before, J.C. Beck, one of our top content producers, well, one of our content producers anyway. Jay was there, and he was filming most of the award ceremony. We'll have a complete report on that with Grant Olson on the news at 5 o'clock. Steve has the rest of the news today. We got sports. The big dance is underway. You got your bracket filled out. You only got a couple hours left before they start playing basketball.
No, I shifted to the NIT. I'm not following the NCAA. My team is playing the NIT this year.
That's true.
So, yeah.
By the way, the Huskies won last night. Speaking of the knit, we'll talk about that. In sports, we have the obscure holiday. It's not obscure. It's the Ides of March. We'll talk about that. Today in history, birthdays, a brand new edition of Everyone is Entitled to Mike McVanney's Opinion. Mike and Alexa is going to be
Mike and Alexa.
Alexa, Alexa, open the garage door. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah, Mike has an interesting slant on that. And if he hasn't run off yet, and you might have, Mr. Tom Martin is in our green room. He's talking about the Antioch Kite Festival, which is a week from Saturday.
Oh, that's
a week from Saturday, the 24th. All the kite flying enthusiasts all over the Northwest will be gathering in Antioch to fly their kites, and we'll talk about that with Mr. Martin in the back half of the show. We got all that taken care of. Oh, one more thing before we get into the cameras around the valley. Still have tickets for the big All-Star basketball game on Saturday night at the Eastmont High School Gymnasium. The games are at 7 and 8:30. It's the best senior high school basketball players in North Central Washington gathered on one court. It is the All-Star game. They've been doing this for years and years. The Wenatchee Central Lions Club puts it on. And if you want tickets, go to our Facebook page, or NCAA Live Facebook page, go to the private message thing. Just give me your name and your number and how many tickets you want. And if you don't have anything else going on Saturday night, you can go watch some outstanding high school basketball players at Eastmont High School. Private message us on our Facebook, and I'll get you some tickets. It'll be a lot of fun. Saturday is huge. There's so much going on.
Oh, gosh.
St.
I'm
Patrick's
looking
Day,
at our
the Wellness
events
Fair.
calendar. My gosh.
Yeah, it's insane. Go to the events calendar on our website, ncwlife.com. Events calendar. It barely, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
It keeps going and going and going and going. There's so much stuff going on this weekend.
And we're
the
just
weather
at the
looks good.
tail end of the winter,
Yeah.
so just getting into spring. And
It is the last weekend of the winter, as a matter of fact, as the spring equinox is right around the corner. Let's go around North Central Washington and the Wenatchee Valley with our Valley View cameras. Let's take a look at Wenatchee proper. We talked about all the things that are going on this weekend. Steve, looks pretty good weather-wise. Forecast details are coming up. There we are. There's Wenatchee. Good to have you on board. Sunrise is still about 5 minutes away, so it's still not quite peeking over the East Wenatchee bench, but that is the beautiful place we call home. I was talking about my guest, Mr. Martin, from the Bay Area, They came up here and they fell in love with it. When he retired, they moved up to Antioch because they just love the area so much. It's one of those cool stories I love to hear.
Well,
Camera
look at
2.
that depleted snowpack up there.
It's going away, isn't it?
It is.
That is Rondo Rock. That is the Columbia River.
Looking north.
Yep, US 97/US 2 is on the right. US 97A would be on the far left. You can't quite make it out. Good morning, Rondo Rock. We're the #2 rated live local morning show in the greater Rondo Rock area, Steve.
Right behind the yoga show.
Right behind the yoga show.
Yeah.
Camera number 3 takes us to, well, speaking of Antioch, there you go. Here's beautiful Antioch, Washington. Again, the Big Kite Festival is on the 24th coming up, and that'll be our topic of conversation. What are you looking at, Steve? You're leaning forward.
Got a little red dot there in the middle of the picture.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know what that is.
What is that red dot in the middle of the picture? I know what you're talking. It's the roof of something, it looks like.
Maybe.
So now we have another puzzle. First of all, we got figured out Mount Kalispell up there in Canada with the Billy Go camera. Now our next scavenger hunt is, what is that red dot?
I'm going to zoom in on that,
Yeah.
baby.
The last time I saw a red dot like that, I went and had it checked. Went to the doctor. Doesn't know what's going on. Good morning, Andy.
It's a discoloration.
Yeah, discoloration. Number 4. What are we looking at today? We got
Lake Chelan.
That's Union Valley. Yep, that's a camera I've gotten to
On the left is the town of Chelan.
Yep. You can see the upper butte with all of those towers, a lot of towers and transmitters and repeaters up there. And that's, of course, is where those people climb up and drive up to the very top, and they throw themselves off the top of the butte, and they glide down to the lake. Those hang gliders, love it up there.
It's a real butte.
It's a real butte. Jeez. Apparently, it's not only the Ides of March, it's a bad pun Thursday as well. Good morning, Chelan. Thanks for joining us. All right, let's do your weather forecast from the National Weather Service. The best word to put it, typical, very typical spring weather. The afternoon highs and the overnight lows that you're going to see, Steve, on the screen are almost exactly normal. Almost exactly normal. That rarely happens. Just a couple of degrees here and there. Our normal high is just about 53, and as you can see, our high today with sunshine, 53 degrees. Overnight lows a little cooler than normal, but all of these that you see there, very typical mid to late March weather. Very, very typical. Sunny today, mostly sunny tomorrow. We're going to have a couple of clouds on Friday, not very much, a little bit warmer, 56. Here's your weekend. Partly sunny Saturday, 53. Sunday, partly sunny, kind of a 50-50 thing. Slight chance of light rain, 20% chance of precipitation on Sunday. I think we'll be dry and a high of 56, and then sunshine again for Monday and Tuesday. Again, all of these afternoon highs are almost exactly normal.
It should be a great day up at the ridge for the Dummy Downhill
Yeah,
event,
that's another thing that's
up.
going on Saturday. And the St. Patty's Day Parade in Kashmir and Wenatchee, and the Wellness Fair going on at the Pybus Public Market. And they got Little Women, the musical, going on at Eastmont High School. And they got the Wedding Singer going on at Wenatchee. I don't know how I'm going to cram it all in.
Boy, oh boy.
So, and I'm going to make my probably last batch of chili for the year.
Are you now?
Yeah. Well, chili has a season. It's fall into winter, and once you go into spring, you don't really make your chili much anymore.
We had a different ethnic dish last night. It's called spaghetti.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. How was it?
Italian dish. It's
Was it good?
yeah.
Yeah, good.
Sausage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you bring any leftovers? To the mountain passes we go. Let's take you up to the Cascades. What's going on up there? Nothing. If you're driving over any of the big three, as we'd like to call them, you got nothing to worry about. No advisories, no restrictions. That is a live shot of Snoqualmie Pass. The roadway is bare and dry. Stevens Pass, no advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is bare and dry. Blewett Pass, no advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is bare and dry. We don't have a photo of White Pass, but I can tell you right now, US 12 White Pass, no advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is bare
and dry.
And the Monash Ridge is closed. I'm kidding. It's fine too. It's bare dry, no problems at all. So that's your weather forecast. That is your pass report. We're going to take a quick 1-minute break. We were a very, very busy news staff yesterday. We have some fascinating stuff to get to.
Oh boy,
When
the
Steve does the
walkouts,
news,
student
walkout.
walkouts.
Yep. That
Topic
was
of news.
obviously the main story of the day yesterday. We will have a complete wrap-up on the student walkout from yesterday morning at 10 a.m. When Steve does the news. That's 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, live from Studio 1 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
Hi, I'm Cordell Schroeder. owner of East Wenatchee Mobile Storage.
If you're thinking about making a move anytime soon, check out the East Wenatchee Mini Storage brand new mobile storage service. They drop it off at your location, you pack it, and they pick it up and store it in their protected warehouse at East Wenatchee for as long as you need. When you're ready, they'll drop it off at your new home or office. East Wenatchee Mini Storage is excited to offer this brand new service to our region.
Call 509-884-8643 or find us on the web at ewministorage.com.
I gotta tell you, I'm nervous.
Selling your home, it's a big step.
Can we find the right buyer in this market?
Look at our website. When someone looks at your home, I can tell how ready they are to buy. See that number? The closer it is to 100, the closer they are to buying. So, I know who to zero in on.
So you have a secret weapon.
You mean, we have a secret weapon.
I like that. Oh, what do you think of the wallpaper?
I love that touch.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
And on this Thursday, it's now March 15th, and our top story. Well, students across the country stood up yesterday from their class seats and walked out of school in part of a nationwide demonstration protesting gun violence following that school shooting in Florida. With a 17-minute demonstration, 1 minute for each person killed at the high school in Parkland, Florida, was organized by students at Wenatchee High School. The walkout began on the school campus, with students taking to the track to honor those who lost their lives last month.
Chris Dixon was 49 years old. He was the athletic director and wrestling coach at Stoneman Douglas High School. He was described as everyone's best friend and the person you could always count on. He always put others ahead of himself. This is a life lesson to teach each and every one here. Chris Dixon taught us to love one another and put others' needs before our own, and I believe that is one of the best life lessons that life has to offer.
Gina Montalto was a smart, loving, and strong 14-year-old girl. She spent most of her time volunteering to help children with special needs and competing with her school's color guard. Gina loved to make people laugh, was always willing to help others, and was a talented artist. She also enjoyed playing soccer and flag football, cooking, reading, and shopping. Gina always worked very hard to achieve high grades. She loved her family and they loved her, especially her little brother, who claims he was her best friend. Gina had an incredibly bright future ahead of her. At her funeral, her family and friends were joined by over 100 airline employees, since her father is a pilot, to grieve her death. Gina's parents have started a GoFundMe to raise money for a scholarship fund in her name focused on secondary education. Her kind, sweet spirit will be missed by all who knew her.
Today, we stand together, united, as students and faculty, to honor those who tragically lost their lives on February 14, 2018 at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. These individuals had their entire lives ahead of them. With compassion and respect, we stand in memorial 17 minutes for the 17 who have fallen, each of which were victims of a system in dire need of change. And whatever that change may entail, we are ready to express our personal sentiment. We are not present for the purpose of partitioning groups with contrasting ideologies. Rather, we stand together to stimulate necessary conversation, a conversation for change.
Now, following their gathering at the track at the high school, the students then walked to Memorial Park in downtown Wenatchee to gather with community members and share more on the issue, including speeches from several students there.
We must respect the legitimacy of viewpoints even when we disagree with them, and that includes recognizing that high school students have a voice and a place in this conversation. Our voices cannot be silenced. Some of you might be thinking it's difficult to respect the legitimacy of the other side when their arguments are just so stupid, but I'm guaranteeing you that the person on the other side of the conversation is probably thinking the exact same thing. Before a serious conversation about serious issues can happen in our society, we must overcome what is preventing us from having that conversation. We must learn to love unconditionally and never to hate. We must see each other as human beings and Americans, looking past partisan labels. And when the hate seeps into the conversation from someone else, we must not reciprocate with more hate. For in the words of Dr. King, hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that.
I would like to address a few comments that I saw on Facebook recently. Quote, kids are going to do whatever they can to get out of class. End quote. Quote, quote, this will be known as the head in the sand generation. End quote. Quote, this is called truancy and they should be jailed for. They are under 18 and have no rights. End quote. These were just a few of the hundreds of comments under the Wenatchee World's post about this rally. I would like to express to you guys that we are not doing whatever we can to get out of class. We are doing whatever we can to save lives and to make a difference.
Also at the park yesterday, Jorge Chacon, a prominent Wenatchee advocate. He joined the gathering at Memorial Park saying he's proud of this generation of students for standing up and getting involved.
The intelligence that they're demonstrating, you know, they're so articulate and they're like on the same page as far as what they're all saying basically the same thing. I mein, that's unheard of. I mean, that's really truly wonderful, and that's a national movement. Wow. I mean, you know, in a way, I'm so proud, you know, but it also it saddens me what happened. And I think that's what really saddens the whole nation. It just, you know, those senseless killings, and they're our youth. You know, their lives were just beginning.
Also had an opportunity to talk to a local parent who was attending the event yesterday, Ace Bollinger, who said that he was inspired by the students' involvement and hopeful for the future as well.
My 8th grade daughter, we were talking about this last night, and I asked her, do you want to go down and march? She said, Dad, I think I do. I'm here. This generation that is out here often gets, you know, I mean, they're called names, they're called, you know, they're lazy, they're everything like that. And I take a lot of pride in what I saw today. My views maybe not necessarily are the same as what their views are, but that's what makes America great, is that you can assemble and you can sit there and you can talk about it. Chris Danko there, that kid there, he's destined for something great. I love the way that he speaks, and his message rang through for this 40-some-year-old man, and I see youth, I see enthusiasm, and I see the future of our country out here. And like I said, it may not be exactly the way I see, but you know what? Sometimes you can teach a couple old dogs new tricks, right?
Number of schools participated in yesterday's walkout, including Cascade and Leavenworth. Also, Wenatchee Valley College students massed at the campus fountain for a demonstration there. Students in the Eastmont School District also took part in the walkout. Our own NCW Live's Eric Grandstrom was there, and he filed this report.
Eastmont High School also took part in today's walkout at 10 o'clock. Students left their classroom, came outside of Eastmont High School, and gathered to walk around the school in silence.
Look at you guys. This is amazing. This is good. This is what we wanted. You guys are all making a big change here. So are you guys ready to march?
The student-led movement was not about gun safety. It was not about gun violence. It was about school safety.
If you're 18, please register to vote. You can't make a change unless you vote. Contact your local representatives, email legislators. If we really want to protect our schools, protect our students, we need to make a difference, starting with us, the students ourselves.
The time is now to use your voice. A walkout is not enough. It's powerful, but it is not enough. We need to contact our legislators and our politicians and tell them we demand school safety, that we deserve to be safe in our schools. Innocent kids need to stop dying. Enough is enough.
Student organizers were very pleased with today's turnout.
oh, I was overwhelmed with like pride and joy, especially how many students were out there. And being silent for that whole time, it was a really powerful, moving moment. And especially watching the kids from inside, watching the kids outside, it was extra just wow. I'm really proud of our school and our community.
It was really powerful. I thought I was super pleased with it. Kind of like what Ellie said, my favorite part probably was once we came back around the school. We were right in front of the school again, and the people that didn't participate, you know, had to watch us all join up together and unify each other. And, you know, I thought that was a very powerful message to those that don't want to advocate for school safety, and just a powerful message in general.
I think it's really cool how the youth is trying to take charge. And I think a big important message that needs to be sent out is the youth is the future. So, I mean, if we want to control the future, we're the ones who need to do that.
There were members from the community here as well. Their message was specific in regards to firearm safety.
I felt I needed to be here today just because it's an important event, and the school shootings just have gotten so totally out of hand that we just need to do something, especially with automatic rifles like the one on here.
I moved to tears that this many kids said this is important.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk out of my class and say enough is enough.
So about 250 students walked out of school today with the blessing of faculty and staff to show their support for increased measures of school safety. Here at Eastmont High School, I'm Eric Grandstrom on the NCW Life Channel.
Little side note to Eric's piece there, he also asked each of the organizers if they feel safe at Eastmont High School. And back to a student, they answered yes, but recent school shootings have caused them to be wary that it could happen anywhere. A nationwide movement will be held March 24th and will include a rally and march beginning at the old Hastings parking lot in Wenatchee, and of course we'll be covering that event as well. Well, one final note here yesterday, a real cliffhanger of a story. An Ephrata man was forced to spend the night in a cave after his Jeep became stuck on a steep ledge in the Palisades Canyon just east of Highway 28, Douglas County area. Sheriff Harvey Jesdahl reports deputies responded to a reported injury accident about 2 miles up the grade from Palisades. Here's a picture provided to us by the sheriff. It was about 2 miles up from the Palisades. When the deputies arrived, they contacted the driver at a residence at the bottom of the Douglas Creek grade. He told investigators the previous evening he was on his way home to Ephrata from Leavenworth. He thought Douglas Creek would allow him to bypass Quincy. Well, Douglas Creek, according to the sheriff, is washed out and impassable and has been so for years. Well, apparently the guy got off the road and began slipping down a side hill. His vehicle stopped just inches from dropping off that cliff into a ravine. The driver was able to safely get out of his vehicle. Now there's more to the story here. There's very little communication in the canyon, and the driver sought shelter in a cave in the canyon overnight. He reported to deputies that during the night, coyotes were tugging on his feet and took one of his shoes. When the sun came up, he walked to the bottom of the canyon to that residence where he was able to call for help. He was then transported to Confluence Hospital to be treated for exposure. So the sheriff advises motorists, by the way, there's a message here, that north central Washington has a lot of remote areas with dubious access and spotty cell service. So the message here is know where you're going, be aware of your surroundings, carry a basic survival kit in your vehicle in case you're forced to spend the night. Boy, the picture of that Jeep there precariously perched above the canyon there, that's kind of scary.
He wanted to drive to Ephrata, but he wanted to bypass Quincy?
Go figure that out. I know, well, there's a lot of questions, but not a lot of answers at this point.
I'm going to drive from Wenatchee to East Wenatchee, but I'm not going to use any of the bridges.
There you go.
We'll see how that works out. 24 minutes after the hour, 32 degrees outside of our studio. Sunshine today, gobs of gooey good sunshine in these Ides of March, and a high of about 53 degrees. A reminder, the news with Grant Olson will come your way at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight. We'll have a complete recap of the big chamber banquet last night, honoring our past and looking forward to the future was the theme. We'll have that and all the news that may happen on this Thursday, and you can help us out if you so desire, right, Steve?
That's right. You can call us on our hotline at 888-6295. That's 888-NCWL. Contact us on Facebook or Twitter. You can also contact us on our email address. That's news@ncwlife.com. Also, our website. Also, press the Contact tab there. Provide us with a news tip or any comments you'd like to share. Any number of ways you can get in touch with us.
And don't forget, if you go to our Facebook page and private message us and you want a couple of tickets, or 3 or 4, I got lots of them, for the big NCW All-Star Basketball Showcase, which is this Saturday night at the Eastmont High School Gymnasium. Just private message us, give us your name and your phone number, and we'll give you as many tickets as you think you may need. 25 minutes after the hour. Sports, the obscure holiday, birthdays. Today in history, everyone is entitled to Mike Ignati's opinion, and Tom Martin will be dropping by to talk about the Entiat Kite Festival, which is a week from Saturday. All that still to come between now and 8 o'clock. We are live here from Studio 2 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
How about having majestic mountains, a beautiful shoreline, and 26 acres of lush walking trails be the backdrop of your special event? Lake Wenatchee YMCA Camp has cabins, meeting spaces, and a lodge with a kitchen that will accommodate large gatherings. Our staff at Lake Wenatchee YMCA Camp will work with you to ensure that your wedding, retreat, class reunion, or birthday is amazing. Reserve your day today.
And we're back at 27 minutes after the hour on this Thursday, the 15th day of March 2018. Let's do sports. It is Thursday, and it's a busy Thursday in the world of prep sports. Here is your calendar. First of all, in boys golf, Cascade is on the road to Quincy today. Clockham Ridge to take on the Jackrabbits, 2:30 tee time there. In boys and girls tennis, where you don't need a tee time, Wenatchee will host Sunnyside, the first league match of the year at the Rack. That begins at 3 today. Also in tennis, Chelan welcomes Pateros at 4, and Entiat is on the road. They'll be at Lake Roosevelt also at 4 in tennis. In fast pitch girls, fast pitch softball today, Wenatchee is on the road to the Ray Rice Memorial Field in Dryden to take on the Cascade Kodiaks. Just one game, 4:30 start there. Caribou Trail League and North Central Washington Bees get together in boys soccer today. Manson is at Okanagan. That's a 4 o'clock start. Chelan has a 4:30 start time at home against Tenasket. Cashmere will host Brewster at 4:30, and the Cascade boys will be on the pitch. I love that hockey term. 6 o'clock tonight in Quincy. It's Thursday. That means it's hockey night here on the NCW Life channel. Since the Wenatchee Wild have been off since last Wednesday, you don't play again until tomorrow. We're going to bring you the first game of their first round playoff series against Merritt. That's tonight at 7 o'clock. Also on the NCW Life Sports broadcast schedule, we'll bring you our first live lacrosse game of the season tomorrow at 7. Wenatchee Valley will host Southridge at Lee-Bofto Field at the Apple Bowl. On Saturday, you can watch Game 2 at 2 and Game 3 at 7 of the Wild's series against Merritt. Then we'll bring you games from Wenatchee's second round series against Vernon starting a week from tonight. Well, Washington had a 15-point lead at halftime. They blew it, but they hung on, and they beat Boise State 77-74, round 1 of the men's NIT tournament. As we open up the Les Schwab scoreboard, Huskies were led by the 25 points of Jalen Noel. Washington advances to the second round of the tournament Monday night. They will be at St. Mary's, an 8 o'clock tip-off there. The big dance begins today across the country. It's the NCAA men's basketball tournament. So you'll have to excuse of all of us here around the NCAA Life channel. Everybody else, if you're glued to your phone or your computer or your TV, if you're lucky to have one today. Gonzaga begins their quest for a second straight trip to the Final Four. It begins today. First round, UNC Greensboro. They tip off at 10:30. That game is on TNT. The only other Pac-12 team in the tournament, as you can see, Arizona will play Buffalo tonight, 6:40 on CBS. Guillermo Heredia's RBI double and Taylor Motter's RBI base hit at the bottom of the 8th helped the Seattle Mariners win. They beat San Francisco in Cactus League play. The final was 5-4. Back to the Les Schwab scoreboard. Motter finished the game 3 for 4 with that RBI. Mitch Haniger back in the lineup. He went 2 for 3 with a home run. Mike Marjuma also delivered a solo home run. Unfortunately, both Ichiro and Gene Segura left the game with leg injuries. Ichiro, a tight calf, and he left in the first inning. He barely got into there at all. Segura has tightness in his hamstring. He left in the third period. Seattle, by the way, will send Ariel Miranda to the man tonight. They're in Mesa, Arizona, to take on the Oakland A's. And that is sports just about 30 minutes after the hour on this 15th day of March, and that is the obscure holiday of the day today. It is, of course, the Ides of March. Beware the Ides of March. Many historians consider it the turning point, if there is one, in Western civilization, the assassination of Julius Caesar. Any number of ways you can celebrate the Ides of March. You can read William Shakespeare's book, Julius Caesar. It's a long read and fairly complicated. I wouldn't recommend that. You can have a Roman-themed dinner. Eat what the Romans did, which would be wine, cheese, grapes, olives, and really stale bread. You can do that. You can have a toga party, whatever. They say beware the Ides of March because bad things happen on the Ides of March. As far as I'm concerned, that's complete nonsense. 30 minutes after the hour, today in history. Gee, why don't we start out with what happened 2,062 years ago? The Ides of March. There it is again. Julius Caesar, stabbed to death by a whole bunch of members of the Roman Senate. The Ides of March happened on this date. 2062 years ago, one of the seminal events in the history of Western civilization. Probably the first big assassination, if you will. Today is the Ides of March, happened in 44 BC. Let's go back 525 years ago. Christopher Columbus, there he is. On this date, March 15th, 1493, Christopher Columbus returned to Spain after his first trip to the Americas. There he is, talking to Queen Isabella. He is on the far left. Queen Isabella is on the far right. He said, I'm back. I brought you some natives. I brought some plants. And before I give you any of these things, I really need to take a shower. That's why they're standing so far apart. Columbus returned to Spain on this date 525 years ago. Whenever a new state joins the Union, we say welcome aboard, and today we welcome Maine. The great state of Maine joined the Union on this date in 1820, became the 23rd state in the Union. Fun facts about Maine, I got some for you. Maine's nickname is Vacation Land. Okay, I'm all for that. The state of Maine song is called the State of Maine Song. Probably could have done better with that one. Maine is the only state that shares its border with just one other state. I think we all know that. 90% of the nation's lobster supply, 40 million pounds a year, is caught off the coast of Maine. That's a lot of lobster. Maine produces 99% of all the blueberries in this country. Did you know that? And according to the Association of Religion Database, apparently these are the authorities on this, the Association of Religion Database, Maine is the least religious state in the country. Take for that what you will. Happy birthday, Maine, 198 years old today. And on this date, 33 years ago today, March 15th, 1985, there it is, the very first internet domain name. Why can't I say that? The first internet domain name was registered, symbolics.com. There it is. And for the record, Symbolics declared bankruptcy and closed its doors on May 7th, 1996. But if you go to symbolics.com, you still get to see that. Finally, at 33 minutes after the hour, birthdays. Excuse me. Still fighting this cold that I got from standing in the rain a couple of nights ago. March 15th, 1767, Andrew Jackson was born, the 7th President of the United States, passed away at the age of 78 in 1845. The only president who was wholly a first-generation American. All of his forebears, all of them were foreign-born. Both North and South Carolina claim to be the birthplace of Jackson. Most modern authorities place it in South Carolina. He was born right along the border there. But there are those historians, legitimate historians, who believe, we're flying kites all of a sudden, who believe that Jackson was born aboard a ship bound for America from Ireland and therefore would not be eligible for the presidency. There are those people who say that's actually, he wasn't born in America, he was born on the ship on his way to America. Whatever the case may be, Andrew Jackson was born in the state in 1767. And RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the 96th Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court, is 85 years old today. She is the oldest justice on the court. There's a fascinating new documentary that made its debut at the Sundance Film Festival. It will be available for widespread viewing in the not-too-distant future. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is 85 years old today. Happy birthday to RBG. All right, 35 minutes after they are going to take a quick break. Everyone is entitled to Mike McKnighty's opinion, a brand new one. You've never seen it before. And then Tom Martin will be in studio to talk about the big Antioch Kite Fest, which you just got a brief preview of when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, live from Studio 3 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
Hi, I'm Blair from Works, your workout prescription. Have you ever started an exercise program and then struggled to keep it going? So what if I told you that with this MyZone device, I could increase your chances of self-motivated exercise adherence by over 200%. Combine that with an exercise prescription specifically for your level of readiness, we'll increase it even more. And that's our new member success system. It's $99. It's exclusively at Works. It includes your MyZone belt. Works, yourworkoutrx.com.
Papa Murphy's presents a fresh take on unbaked. Who wants an unbaked pizza? You do. Because unbaked means unprocessed dough and unfrozen vegetables, all prepared fresh by us. So the difference between a pizza fresh from your oven and one pulled from a greasy delivery box? Unreal. The smell? Unbelievable. Leftovers? Unlikely. Home bake a large Papa's all meat with Canadian bacon, salami, pepperoni, Italian sausage, and ground beef. Just $12. Papa Murphy's. Love at 425 degrees.
We know crunch.
Collins Fashions has a fabulous selection of clothing, handbags, jewelry, and shoes for all events in your life, such as work, errands, celebration, travels, etc., etc. And our professional caring staff will assist you in coordinating your wardrobe and choose a perfect gift for that special someone. Our many fabulous brands include Joseph Ribkoff, Tribal, Jag Jeans, Tommy Bahama, and we are your Brighton headquarters for North Central Washington. We are grateful for our wonderful customers, and we look forward to seeing you at Collins, where fun and fashion meet in downtown Wenatchee.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNutty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, we recently, my wife and I, got one of those Amazon Echo things. You know, those things named Alexa that you can talk to, and she'll play music. She'll tell you what the capital of New Jersey is. It's Trenton, by the way. Or they'll give you a weather report. Now, I kind of like this thing. I mean, I can tell Alexa to play some Stevie Ray Vaughan, or I can tell her to play the blues, and she will. And she doesn't give me any argument. She'll even turn up the volume, too. But the real reason I like Alexa, because it's nice to have someone in my house who's finally listening to me. This is Mike Mad Dog McNutty, and that's my opinion.
Hello, Wenatchee Valley. Christian Shaman here with Bay Equity Home Loans.
Make your dream of building your own home a reality today. Bay Equity Home Loans has teamed up with Real Homes to make building your new home a smooth process. Bay Equity Home Loans of Wenatchee offers new construction loans, FHA 3.5% down, and VA 100% construction loans.
Stop on by or give us a call today.
The relationship between the lifetime warranty and our service department is our service department's award-winning, and they keep people's cars running for longer. I've had customers where they were waiting for their car to die, and it just wouldn't die because our service department was able to keep it running.
For longtime customers that are going to maybe have a new driver in the family in the next 4 or 5 years, the lifetime warranty is powerful. You're always going to have protection.
Some things are better slow. Internet is not one of them. With local Tel Fiber Internet, slow internet is history. Play movies and videos instantly in HD quality. Video chat without interruption. Download music or photos in seconds. And dominate in gaming with virtually no lag time, no matter how many devices are online. Experience gigabit internet. Call or visit LocalTel online to learn more.
High school sports is back this spring on the NCW Life Channel. Do you like baseball? We've got you covered with the Wenatchee Panthers and the Eastmont Wildcats. How about softball? We have you covered there too with fast pitch action right here. How about lacrosse? Yep, got you covered there too with the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. And of course, there's boys soccer. Whatever your interest, we've got you covered on your home for high school spring sports, the NCW Life Channel.
40 minutes after the hour, 32 degrees outside of our studios here in downtown Wenatchee. We're going to top off at about 53 degrees. I wish I could tell you, I really wish I could tell you the weather for the 24th of March. It's too far out, but Tom and I, we're keeping our fingers crossed. It's going to be just a little breezy in Antioch, right, Tom?
It better be.
It's hard to fly kites when it's not windy, isn't it?
That's a fact, and we've had kite days when you couldn't get a kite off the ground.
Yeah.
And it's a little frustrating for the kids because once they get to flying them, they really have a good time. Some of them get way up there.
Yeah.
And then we have people come in from the coast that bring fancier stuff, and they fly some pretty good sized kites and get them well up in the air. So.
Tom Martin has joined us. What's your official title in all of this Antioch Kite Festival thing?
I'm just the chairman of the Kite Festival.
Oh, so how did you get that gig?
Well, I have, if you had the time, I could tell you how I got that gig. I retired from a business and moved to Washington to live. And I wasn't here a month, I don't suppose, when I was asked to join the fire department, which I had never done anything like that before. And I said, you gotta be kidding, I'm too old for that stuff. And the chief said, he was introducing, we have a fireman's dinner every year, and he was introducing all the firemen. He says, take a look at these guys and tell me you're too old to do this. Well, when he got done, I decided maybe I'm not after all. So I went on to the fire academy, and I took firefighting for outdoors, firefighting for structural. I no sooner got that than they said, how would you like to be an EMT? I said, oh, here we go again. So I went to school and became an EMT. And so for some years, my contribution to society was as a firefighter EMT. Then a little longer down the line, somebody asked if I would like to join the Chamber of Commerce, and it was fairly new. Chamber of Commerce was fairly new. So I joined the Chamber of Commerce, and I've been on the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce off and on for a number of years. I was a city councilman for a while too.
Okay, so you've kind of done it all in Antioch.
Pretty much.
Well, in Antioch, you kind of sort of have to do it all.
Yeah. Well, it's the old story. If you've got a job to do, 90% of the work is done by 10% of the people.
That's true. That's true. That's 100% true. Tom and I were talking before he came in. Your background story is really fascinating. From down in the Bay Area, you had your job, you retired, and you had some family connections up here, and you took a trip up here, and you fell in love with the area, and you convinced your wife, when the time comes for us to hang up the job and hang up the protractors and the wrenches and the tools, you're moving up to this area, which is a great story.
It really, and it worked out very well. So, yeah, I've enjoyed living up here. I enjoyed my wife's family. Her grandfather, her stepfather's dad, was one of the first smoke jumpers.
Oh wow!
And he was really a great guy. He's one of the. You think I've done everything? He's done everything. He was a prize fighter. He was in the Army. He was a smoke jumper. He worked for the Forest Service. He ran the smoke jump base at Winthrop. So he was quite a character, and I really liked him a lot. So.
And you like living in Antioch?
Yes, I do.
So cool. So the 24th, it's the, how many I did a little research. I'm trying to remember how many of these kite festivals have been going on.
Well,
the Antioch one specifically.
My wife and I have a difference of opinion on that.
Oh, no.
She told me, and being my wife, she's probably right. She told me last night that this is going to be our 8th, and I thought it was our 6th.
Okay.
But we have been, my wife and I both been involved with everyone since the start. So, it's been going on for a while, and my guess is it's going to go on for a while. We've had our times. We had one time when it rained, and of course that didn't work out worth a hoot. And then we've had a couple times when the wind wasn't worth a hoot either. So, and I do a little kite flying once in a while myself. I like to lost half my finger last year flying a kite. I had the kite string kite strings are really pretty tough. I had it wrap around and catch the edge of my, right where your fingernail meets your finger, and cut that thing wide open. So I wound up gluing it closed so I could keep it out of the way for the day. And at any rate, but kites are really a lot of fun. People don't realize, they see kids messing with kites, and adults, unless they've done them when they're a kid and they remember what they're like, they don't have any idea. I've got a couple of stunt kites that you can maneuver around pretty well, and flying kites are really fun. So I kind of enjoy this thing.
What's the genesis of all? Take me back somewhere between 6 and 8 years ago, since we don't really know. Did some bunch of guys get around and said, you know, we want to bring people to Entiat, and we have just the right kind of breeze in the middle to late part of March to have a kite flying festival? Whose idea was this? Where did it come from?
To be honest with you, I don't recall whose original idea it was, but it was just that kind of thing. Somebody says, why don't we have a kite festival? We've got Summerfest, and we've got the Winter Bazaar, and we've had car shows, and somebody says, you know, why don't we add a kite fest? And we did, and for the most part, it's been pretty successful. As you said, and as I said, we really hope for, gotta have some wind. That would be really, really nice. But it works out really good, because the kids enjoy it, and it doesn't cost mom and dad a penny. That's relative speaking. We're going to have hot dogs and drinks available, but they're going to be on a donation basis.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, if somebody just can't afford it, come over and get your hot dog and say, I really can't afford one right now, if you can do that.
But if you could fork over $5 for a hot dog, that would be great as well, right? Same
Sure,
kind of deal. Sure.
You betcha.
Yeah.
We get the kites from a place in Seattle called Great Wind Kites in Seattle, and we've always got them from the same place. We buy about 100 of them a year, and they're fairly easy to put together. They are plain white Tyvek, I guess it is. And we have 2 or 3 tables, and we have tempera and brushes and scissors, and we just let the kids go to town decorating their kites the way they want to, you know, however they want to do it. And then when we got the line to hang them on, when they're dry, they can take them out and fly them. Now sometimes you'll see, and it's very frequently, you get a kid, you give them the kite, and they start running around. And you know, when you run with your kite, it's going to fly.
Sure.
You know,
that's what Charlie Brown always told me.
Shirley was right. If you run with your kite, it'll fly. But pretty soon you get tired of running, and like on a good day, the kite keeps flying. On a bad day, the kite comes back down to the ground. Now you can run around the field dragging the kite through the grass. So they'll destroy a few kites. They'll go back and get another one. Since they're free, they'll go back and get another one. Now this year is the first year that we've had the kids from the high school build the kites. Normally we have a pile of kites there at the park, and that's when I say the park, it's Kiwanis Park. I don't know how familiar you are with that. That's that open field, open park on the north end of Entiat, and they play, it's got 2 baseball
fields there. Yep, it's right along the river.
Yep, and they play soccer there.
So it's a big open area, so it's perfect.
Yes, it is. It's good. You'd fly kites there without getting into trouble with wires and stuff like that. We've got electricity available, so you know, like we can plug in things if we need to. The chamber has a sound system that was given to me, and I gave it to the chamber. So the kite festival runs from about 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll be there at 9, the people who are working on it, and it'll run from 10 till about 4. You know, sometimes by 4, the mom and dad have said, I've had enough of this. Come on, let's get in the car and go home. Excuse me. And I can understand that. You know?
Yeah, sure.
Then there's no charge for it.
My next question is, how much does this cost, Tom? Nothing.
It doesn't cost anything.
Wow.
We buy the kites and we give them to the kids. And then the kids decorate them. And some of the kids do a dynamite job, and some kids don't do a very good job.
Some kids just can't wait to, especially if it's going to be breezy, and we hope it will be, they can't wait to just start flying the kite, too.
Sure, that's right.
So they don't care what it looks like. I want to get it up in the air. So.
And that's what happens to a lot of the decorations, is the kites are still white and the kids are running around with them. But they usually will settle down and work on them, and sometimes they do a good job and sometimes they don't, but that's kids. We have 4 major sponsors, and that's Numerica, Port of Chelan, Cascadia, and Entiat Food Center.
Okay.
Entiat Food Center, as you may know, is the only place within 16 miles of Entiat.
Yeah, on my way up to Lake Chelan, that's where we stop to get our adult beverages on the way to the lake. Everybody stops by the Entiat Food Mart. So.
And that's really handy for us in Entiat.
Yeah.
You know, that's maybe the only negative thing about Entiat is that it's 16 miles from a reasonable sized grocery store, or worse than that, 16 miles from a hardware store.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you got to drive 16 miles into one of the hardware stores in Wenatchee, or 16 miles into Chelan to one of the hardware stores, and then back home.
But you get to live in a beautiful area. I mean, that's, you know, who's kidding who? It's just gorgeous there.
And we live right, you know where the new park is?
Sure.
We live straight up this, across the new park, straight up on the side of the hill up there. We're looking right down into the park from the deck on our house.
Well, you watched the opening of the show when we took our cameras around the valley with our PTZ cameras, and Steve and I were trying to figure out what that red dot was. Did you hear us talking about that?
No.
When we showed Entiat, there's a big red dot. Looks like it's the roof of something. So we put out the call. Uriah, can you bring that up full screen? Maybe Uriah can bring that up full screen since you're our local Entiat expert. Tom, that's not quite, that's Union Valley, that's Chelan. That's not, there you go, there's Entiat. You see right in the middle of the screen, you see that red dot there?
No.
Right in the middle of the town. You see that it stands right out. Looks like it's the roof of some kind or another. You
right
see
down
that?
there next to the road?
Yeah, you look above the road, it's a red, what is that?
It's the roof of the firehouse.
Oh, roof of the firehouse.
Yeah.
There you go. Mystery solved. Thank you, Tom, I appreciate that. Does the topography of the Entiat area lend itself to kite flying? Is it always a little breezy anyway, so people will go there to fly their kite even if there's not a festival?
Generally speaking, okay, where I live on the highway side, the highway side, like I said, is the park straight below our house.
Right.
On the Entiat Way side, there's 2 huge fields, like 2 football fields that are owned by one of the people there in Entiat. There's nothing there except he mows the grass there periodically. And I've tried to fly kites there, but the wind currents get swirling around so bad you can't really get a kite up, and it'll do a 90-degree turn in the air and come straight down again. You know, so I haven't had a whole lot of luck flying them there. But you can almost any time go down to Kiwanis Park and fly, or down to the regular park and fly. You just got to be more careful down at the regular park because there are a few big trees down there.
And some power lines too, a few.
Yeah, but not bad. You can get to a place where it's not a power line to deal with. So,
now the kite flying community, the folks from out of town, they have their own culture, so to speak. There's kite flying enthusiasts all over the Northwest. There are kite flying clubs.
Right.
They come, don't they? The word's out.
We've always gotten some people from the coast. We managed to get our event on the, I'm trying to think, Pacific Northwest, maybe Kite Flyers Association. They have a calendar, and we get our thing on their calendar. And we talked to a couple of people down there before the kite festival. They call and say, "Is going to have a kite festival?" Yeah, we're going to have a kite festival this year. So that gets them coming up, and some of them have really impressive kites. Some of these people, most of them build their own kites. So they do a really good job, and they're really impressive kites. Some of them are big, some of them are fancy, some of them are pretty. You know, I mean, you got everything you think. And then you got this. We have this one guy. He comes every year, and he brings in whirligigs, and he brings in those flags, those kind of, you know.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
You know, kind of, you see them out front of a gas station, or not a gas station.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, sure.
So he brings a lot, and always brings a couple of kites. So it's always well decorated. Now, we've had music in the past, and we decided this year, as chairman, I said, you know what? I said, I didn't hear a musical note last year, not once, not one. And I said, well, we had 2 bands played, and I said, yeah, I understand that. I didn't hear one note of music. I was too busy. So I said, this year, instead of having music, let's have some food. So the people that own the Entiat Food Center are The husband is on the city council, and the wife belongs to the Chamber of Commerce. And they said, yeah, well, we can donate food.
Okay.
So they went out and got a jillion hot dogs, and the lady that she and her husband own we just refer to it as the tavern. They're going to bring over a big old barbecue thing, and our president of the Chamber of Commerce, Stormin Norman, everybody knows Stormin Norman, he's going to cook the hot dogs.
Oh, good. So
yeah.
you know the hot dogs will be well done.
Yeah.
Storman's a hot dog connoisseur. He likes to scarf them down. Are you hoping to plant a seed? You want to see a 7 or 8 year old boy or girl get their first kite and decorate it, and it's the wind is perfect, and they're flying a kite, and they're just lit up, and they're happy, and they're loving it, and they become a kite flying enthusiast for life?
I hope so.
Yeah.
You know, that's always the plan.
Uh-huh.
You never know what these kids do. You know, it's the same. Although I know that some of them, we see the same ones sometimes year after year. And I'll make a point of, if I find some particular well-done kite with a good kid flying, I'll be sure and take some pictures for you.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. What's the perfect kite flying weather? You don't want it really too windy, right? You know, like a nice consistent breeze of say 10 to 15 miles an hour. What's the dream weather for a kite flying enthusiast?
5 to 10.
5 to 10.
Yeah.
So less than I would assume.
Yeah, I mean there are kites. I've got a kite that just about drags you around the ground, just like a big rectangular kite, and it. You know, people are known to have carts that they pull with those kind of kites. They're called traction kites, and so you get some big kites. My favorite kite is a stunt, and it's not a triangle. What the heck is it? A delta. I guess it'd be a delta wing, and you can fly that thing 2 strings, so you can, you know, pull the string and the kite will swoop and swoop and go up and down and swoop. I mean, it's really something.
And you have to have consistent wind direction for that, right? You can't have the wind swirling because you're trying to do one thing and the wind's going to take it another way, right?
You can fly a kite. If there's enough wind, you can fly a kite, even if it's swirling a little bit. But ideally, ideally I would have 7 to 8 miles an hour one direction wind. That would be super.
Well, the forecast for Antioch this weekend is perfect, but that's this weekend for the 17th. The big festival we're talking about is on the 24th. This weekend is perfect. Wind west 6 to 9 miles an hour, picking up in intensity on Saturday afternoon. It would have been perfect.
Yes, it would have been.
But we're keeping our fingers crossed. One way or the other, wind, rain, it doesn't matter what it is. The festival is going to happen, right?
Absolutely.
So for more information, people say, I've never done this before, or I'm in Wenatchee, and I'm going to drive the 16 miles up from the local hardware store to our friends in Antioch to participate in the Antioch Kite Festival. They want more information. What do they do? Can they go to the website? Do they give you a call? What do they want to do?
We have a Chamber of Commerce website. Call me at 784-1808. Come by. We'll starting probably tomorrow. We'll put posters up on the fence there at Kiwanis Park.
Sure.
So people driving by, somebody going to Lake Chelan for something, will be.
Yeah, you'll see it.
Absolutely.
You'll see it. Hopefully, you'll see just bunches of kites up in the sky, colorful kites up in the sky as you drive up 97A. And you go by the park.
That's right. That's what we'd like to see.
Yeah. And it's going to be easy to find. Just look for the kites.
Yeah, it will be easy to find. Yeah. Well, it's going to be easy to find it because when we have the kite festival, most people park right along Highway 97A in front, right in front of the park. Sometimes they get enough parked there that they have to park across from the park.
I hope you have that problem.
Well, it'd be okay. I just, not real wild about seeing kids trying to cross 97A.
Yeah, that's understandable.
But we usually you can go up the street before the park, turn right onto that street, and then the first left runs you right in dead ends at the park. So you can park all over that street. So we have usually pretty adequate amount of parking space.
So hot dogs by donation, drinks, kites, that sounds like a party to me. Sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Sounds like a really good time.
Yep, we have a good time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And the fact of the matter is that this is either the 6th, 7th, or Kite Festival, we don't know. We don't want to get into the domestic issues of the Martin family. All we can guarantee you is that it's still going on, which means it's working. It's working, right?
Yep.
People seem to enjoy it.
Yep.
Thanks for dropping by. It was nice meeting you, and you know, enjoy your Corvette. I'm jealous. Tom bought a Corvette. I'm so jealous. Have fun, and we'll see you on the 24th. All right. All right. Tom Martin, everybody. Tomorrow on the show, Ramon Rivera, the director of Mariachi Hanachi, will be there because they have their big Northwest Festival coming up at the Town Toyota Center a week from Friday. He will be my guest tomorrow. Buckle your seatbelts. He's a lot of fun. Until then, have a great Thursday. Take care. Bye-bye.